So I want to kick this episode off with you imagining something. So just for a moment, close your eyes if you can. If you're driving, then please do not close your eyes because we do not want that. But just for a moment, imagine in your mind two people. The first person is someone who's got a sense of confidence, certainty, maybe pride about them. And I want you to picture what that person looks like. And the second person is someone who is a little bit unsure of themselves, a little bit maybe self-doubting, maybe even fearful. And I want you to picture both of those two people. You got it? There's a chance that those two people that you've pictured, the person who you thought was confident and proud and sure of themselves, that person had maybe a tall posture about them. Their shoulders were back, maybe broad and wide. Their chin is up, their chest is out, and they're creating a commanding posture. The other person may have shrunk. They may have rounded their shoulders in feeling that uncertainty and fearfulness, and they have started to close themselves off. What we're talking about here is body language and the impact it is going to have on both you as an individual, the people around you, and maybe even others' body language and its impact on you, and being aware of that. So one thing that I recommend if you're interested in body language, there's a really great TED Talk by Amy Cuddy. It's one of my favorites, and it's called Your Body Language May Shape Who You Are. And it's about a 20-minute TED Talk. It's one of the most viewed TED Talks out there. And Amy Cuddy goes through many different reasons as to why having good, strong, positive body language can actually be beneficial to you. And one of the most amazing things I find in that whole TED Talk is how she talks around people who are blind sprinters or blind runners. When they cross the finish line, they throw their arms up and out and they create a big posture and a big presence. And she shows many different examples of both creating a big presence with your body language and a small presence with your body language, and the impact it has, all the way from things such as job opportunities, dating, and even sporting achievements. So I really highly recommend going and checking that TED Talk out. But it's a really good reference for this episode, because one thing I do want you to do right now is take a quick body audit. And that is to just check in with your body right now. What position are you in? What sort of shape do your shoulders have? What body language would you say you have got right now? But also, don't feel like there's a sense of judgment on what that posture is and what that shape of your body is at right now. I want you to try and link with how you currently feel. So what are the emotions you feel? How do you feel emotionally? And do you feel maybe negative, or do you feel down? Do you feel like you're having a great day, you're positive? And is your posture up and strong and up and about? Maybe you're even out running, listening to this, and you're doing something that you've got a strong body posture on, and you actually feel good whilst doing it. So there's an indication or a starter for you in starting to bring that awareness into your body language and how you feel. So it's just a quick body audit that you can do. And body language is a form of non-verbal communication. And I'll get on to communicating with others. But to understand your body language and to gain a better understanding of your body language, if you've listened to this podcast a lot, you'll hear me talk about yoga many, many times. But a reason I like something like yoga is because it builds what's called a mind-body connection, connecting the body and the mind. And what that does is it brings awareness. You do this through getting onto the mat, and some days you feel like your body is tired and sleepy, and you'll suddenly feel like you want to do all these poses and postures that are like really easy, and you round the body off. But whenever you're working with someone, there's a kind of a general rule, I would say. It's a very loose rule in yoga, and that is that when you want to wake the body up and you want to feel strong and powerful, you open up the front of the body. So these are all the muscles that are literally in the front of your body, forward facing. So if you're in the morning and you want to wake up, then you tend to prescribe someone to stretch out, whether it's the front of the chest, the shoulders, the hips, all the way through the front of the body, doing back bends and things like that to really energize and bring some vibrance into the body, that space and openness. But not only that, when you get up and you move about, you suddenly feel open and strong, and you generally feel a little bit better and more lively in yourself, and if anything, confident. And the opposite is true, that if you stretch out the back of the body and you start to work on deepening into those muscles and rounding the body off, you tend to feel more sleepy. And it's great for doing before you go to bed, because it allows you to get a great night's sleep, and it can really send you into that parasympathetic tone in the body and get you into a rest and digest state real quickly. But if you think about both of those, stretching out the front of the body, you're opening up, you're creating space, you're becoming big. So you're opening up and vibrant. And then when you're rounding off, you're sort of shying away, you're closing yourself off, and you're starting to sort of go into your own shell. And that's where, like I said, going to bed is an ideal moment there, because you are literally starting to go into hibernation, essentially, that micro hibernation. But the ultimate goal here is knowing what is going on in the body and how you feel in the body. So when you do that session, or you practice yoga and you open up the front of the body and you stretch out the front, you start to recognize, oh, I feel good, I feel great, and I feel alive and strong and vibrant. And that's because your body has had an impact on your mind. You've changed the state of your body to change the state of your mind. And that is a really big, important part of your body language, is that if you are ever feeling like you are not where you want to be, or you're just not there yet, like you're mentally, you're maybe self-doubting yourself, change your physical state, change what you're doing with your body, and there's a chance, and you give yourself a chance for changing your mental state with it. There are so many times when I have played games when I was a professional athlete that I would not be feeling myself, but I knew I had to perform. And also I've got opposition against me, and I wanted to get the most out of myself. So I would actually add into my routine to make sure I was tall, strong. I would pull my shoulders back, lift my chest, and I would recognize when I wasn't doing that. There would be moments where I could feel like I was maybe losing power and energy, and I was feeling low, and I would check into my body and I'd be like, oh, I'm rounded off in the front. I'm starting to close off. I'm not that big, strong, open posture and that body language that I've got. And then funnily enough, you might start to gain momentum. And I would see in these games that I would gain momentum, and suddenly something good would happen. And then you start to feel better and confident. Your body language grows, and then you can start to get back into that flow state. But it's basically a way of kind of tricking your mind if you're in that place where you're just not 100%, you're just not fully mentally on it. So you sometimes have to change your physical state and force yourself and push yourself into a new physical state in order to change that mental state. So again, it's about building that awareness. It's about understanding, where am I at this moment, and then can I do something about it? Because if you can build that openness and that broad feeling in your body language, you'll start to just gain momentum, and then you'll start to see that others around you are impacted by it. You might find people alongside you start to change their body language, and then you feed off it. There's nothing better than being in a part of a team where suddenly all the body language changes and you can just feel it, you can vibe off it. So body language is super important for team sports and team environments, because if one person has got negative body language, then it's really easy to follow that. But the opposite is true, that if you have strong positive body language, then it's really easy to follow that as well, and you can vibe off it, you can gain strength from it. If you are someone who perhaps leads a team or is seen as a senior person within a team and your body language is negative, in recognizing that it's non-verbal communication, the people at the other side, they don't actually know what is going on in your mind. All they see is this negative body language, and it can potentially allow them to spiral into a negative, self-doubting sort of twister of a thought process that they don't actually know how to action and do something about it. All they can see is this person in front of them that's just showing them some form of negativity with their body language. And like I said, any body language is infectious. So if you are a leader, or you are someone who is senior, and just anyone in a team essentially, recognize that if you do want someone to change and you do want something different and you want a better outcome, having that negative body language isn't going to help to start with. But also do that quick body audit. Just check in and be like, what do I want my body to be saying? What do I want to be saying to this person? Do I want to be seen as positive? Do I want to bring a good outcome in this? Do I want to try my best? There may be a time where no matter how hard you try, the negative outcome is just playing out. I've been in games where you know the result is coming, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to create a negative environment. You can change your body state. I've also had people in my team where when I've seen their negative body language, I haven't understood what they are trying to say, and you're just guessing and trying to know what's going on, because sometimes you can't even communicate. You might be too far away, whatever's going on. And it's really, really challenging for that person to know what is happening, because there's no verbalization of the moment. So if you are a leader, just make sure that you are giving off what you want in that moment. You are saying the right things with your body. You are giving off that positive body language. Check in with it. And it's infectious, both in the sense that that negative body language is infectious. So it's just going to perpetually cycle into most other people adopting that negative body language because they're not understanding what you're feeling, or show them that strong body language, because when you do it as a team, you just vibe off each other. It is nothing better, and you really can build that camaraderie from it, even when there's no words being said. So push yourself, as uncomfortable as it may be, into as strong and as confident body posture and body language as you possibly can. And I would then move on to recognizing that your body language is how people will perceive you. So if you want to be perceived in a certain way, but your body language is saying something else, you may get misinterpreted. Like I mentioned, it is a form of non-verbal communication. So you're not actually saying anything, and you may be feeling good and great inside, but your body language is negative or is maybe showing signs of frustration, and that will have an impact on other people, and people will start to see that and interpret it, and that may not be how you want to be interpreted. So recognize that where it's just, again, taking those body audits, just checking in with your body language, like how do I look? How do I feel in my body? And then, is that aligned with how I want to be perceived? Do I want to be seen as shrinking and negative and head down or shoulders forward? Or do I want to see as chin up, head up, shoulders back, being energetic and providing some energy to people? So keep checking in with your body, because that will be how not only teammates, coaches will perceive you, but also opposition. Like I mentioned, the impact you can have on opposition can completely change games. In one of my previous episodes with Dale Steyn, former South African Test cricket international cricketer, he talked about a story of when he was playing England and he didn't feel great. He didn't feel the best. But when he was about to run out onto the field, he was like, I've got to get up for this game. I've got to get myself going. I've got to play England. I can't show them that I'm not up for this. So he forced himself to run down, be energetic, move himself around, change his body state, change his body language. And he ended up taking 5 wickets and dominating England for the day. So simply by changing his physical state and how his body was speaking, it created doubt in other people. It created this sense of, oh my God, he's got it together. This guy's confident, he feels great, he's on it. And then you never know where someone else's mental state at. You could create that competitive advantage that allows them to start to diminish in what they're doing, and you start to get one up on them. It's a little bit of a tactic, but it can genuinely work. And again, the opposite is true. If you feel someone is dominating you, try not to diminish yourself. Again, in Amy Cuddy's TED Talk, she talks about how we don't mimic people with body language. We actually do the opposite. So if someone's coming into a room with strong body language, we tend to shrink. So if you're in a sporting example and you're trying to compete, it's really important that you maintain your body language, you stay to what you want to do and not draw off someone else's. It's very tough to do, but if you can start to be aware of what you're doing, how your body is and what you're doing, then you can maybe start to change it and start to throw a spanner in the works or slow that wheel down a little bit before it starts to roll off and get out of control, and you're just not being in that state of good body language that you want to be in. So again, it's all built around your awareness. And then also that impact on people around you. That is super important. Ultimately, how do you want to be perceived? I think that's the biggest question I would give for your body language. How do you want to be seen? Do you want to be seen as that rounded shoulders, negative sort of shell moving within yourself? That I've never really seen anyone that takes on that form of body language that has then created a really good performance and come out sort of on the up. Very rarely would that happen. More often than not, it's when you create that good body language that a good performance will follow. But if you are always sort of rounded and creating that negative body posture that has that negative connotation, then there's more often than not the chance that you will follow that. You will follow into a negative mindset, negative outcomes. So it is about just, as Amy Cuddy says, it's like fake it until you become it. Just keep going until it suddenly changes, something clicks, but just keep working with it. So I would leave yourself, I will leave you with this episode. It's been a quick one, but a very simple question that I think is worth asking yourself, whether it's before you go into something or every day, and something that does mean something to you. And that question is, what do you want your body language to say? So that's it. That's all I've got for this episode. Thank you once again for listening. As always, you can find me on Instagram at Lewis Hatchett. You can find me on TikTok at Lewis_Hatchett. Again, it's Twitter at Lewis_Hatchett. Find me on LinkedIn, but head to the website, lewishatchett.com, and you can get in touch with me there. And the podcast is /podcast. Don't forget to sign up to the game plan to receive one actionable tip every Friday morning. This is a newsletter that will only be sent out to subscribers. So head over to lewishatchett.com /the-game-plan, and you can get it there. Thank you once again, and I'll see you later.